Hello everybody, and welcome to a quick little vlog video just to keep you guys up to date on what's going on with the channel and everything of that sort. The game in the background is Kerbal Space Program 0.24, so it's a new update. Now this leads us directly into the first thing, which is that I was planning on starting Project Destiny this week when the patch got released, because that was kind of contingent on the patch. However, I'm running roughly 20 to 25 mods for this series, and you're seeing some of them, like I have procedural fairings on right now, and that one's working, and then universal storage thing, that's working, and then, Ferrum Aerospace, which pretty much directly changes how a lot of the physics work in atmospheres and whatnot, so that's working just fine, but there are quite a few that aren't, and I'm just waiting for those to update, so it should be out next week, this series, and it's unfortunate because I wanted to start it this week. And one of the things I was considering doing is just putting out like a story video, but I don't want to fragment the series. I don't want to have the story separate from the main series, so I'm just going to put it all in with one thing. So on the first episode, you'll get the story of what's going on there, and it's going to be really kind of cool. I think you guys are really going to like the story I came up with for that Kerbal series. But like I said, I'm just waiting on a few mods to update, and it's kind of frustrating because I did want to get this series started. But, at the same time, I want to make sure it's a really good one, and I want to make sure that it's what I like as far as video content is concerned. So I'm definitely pushing it back one more week, and we'll see what next weekend, if it actually comes out and has no issues. Now, with that being said, let's move on to the next thing, which is that on the weekends now, obviously, Project Destiny will be happening on the weekends because Transistor is now done, and Garrick's Dark Souls series will continue on Monday and Tuesday at the moment. But the thing with the weekends is I'm going to put a second video on there, or maybe one or two extra videos, and it's going to be our new Wildstar guides. So those will finally in a position where I can start making those and not have many issues with it. Before, doing Wildstar videos was actually cutting into the time that I needed to be playing the game to get ready for raiding and all that, and getting other people ready for raiding. That's another big part of that. Our guild is in the process of recruiting the people that we need, not necessarily just people. We're trying to bring in the right people to make sure that we're as competitive as possible, and in order to do that, it requires a lot of time, so that's what has been going on this past few weeks for me as far as Wildstar is concerned. But we finally have gotten into a position where I'm doing a lot less work than I had been for that, so I can start making guides. So you'll start seeing, kind of normal, simple guides to begin with, like the costume system and gearing and how different classes work with that, and what to do at level 50, and how to make enough platinum, which is, obviously 100 gold is 1 platinum. So how to make enough platinum to actually keep yourself subscribed to the game without paying $1, right? So these are all things that people should know, how to do. It's important stuff, so we'll start with those guides, and then we'll move on to the dungeons and the raids and how to get, the max out of your game for that. So those will start happening on the weekends, and we're pretty close. I mean, to say 2 months away sounds like a long time, but we're really close to the start of the Inquisition series, so the Dragon Age Inquisition and Alien Isolation. Now, here's the thing: is October 7th is going to be like the biggest day all year, because October 7th you have Dragon Age Inquisition, you have Alien Isolation coming out, and then you also have The Flash coming back, or starting, I guess, the TV series. So it's just going to be an awesome day as far as all that is concerned. And then obviously the 8th, which is the day after, which is a Wednesday, you have Arrow returning to TV. And if you haven't watched Arrow, you're missing out. It's just such a good TV series. You really need to watch it. And then obviously with The Flash coming, it's going to tie into that. So I would highly suggest it. But October 7th is going to be like the day to watch out for this year. And that brings up a good point that, you know, are we doing Alien Isolation? Because that's coming out on October 7th. We're definitely doing Dragon Age Inquisition. We're definitely going to be done with Dragon Age 2 by the time Inquisition comes out. So are we doing Alien Isolation? And the answer to that is probably yes. We're still figuring out how we want to do it. It is going to be one of Garrick's series, but we're considering whether or not we want to do what we did with Amnesia, which is have him stream it to me and me be a part of that series so I can watch him and provide hilarious commentary as he's screaming his head off, you know, that kind of thing. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be one of those series, but we'll have to see, because it is running the new Unreal Engine. We don't know how that streams very well. So if it streams well and there's not a huge delay, then it'll work really well. But we won't know that until the game is close to coming out or has come out. So that'll be interesting when we get that far. Obviously, we'll have more vlogs by the time we get to then, and we can talk about that more. But I did want to mention it as, you know, something that's coming is we're going to do an Alien Isolation series, and that is going to be, or looking to be, a really, really good game. So you can look forward to that. What else do I need to talk about? I'm getting a slight graphics card upgrade. Right now I'm running a 550 Ti, which is not a bad card, but it is definitely getting along in years here. And Garrick just upgraded to the 7 series, so he sent me his 570, and that'll be here shortly. So we'll see a minor upgrade in some games and a significant upgrade in others. I mean, like Dragon Age 2, for example, we're running pretty much high settings, you know, high, and then some things are turned down to accommodate 60 frames per second, because I want that game running at 60 frames per second, since YouTube is switching to that. And we've talked about that in the past. You know, any video that we've uploaded in 60 should play in 60 when that's available to us at 1080p. So I want to make sure Dragon Age 2 is running at 60 frames per second, but I should be able to turn up a lot more stuff once I get that card, so that'll really help. It has a lot more memory than my card does, and that will increase the fidelity of a lot of stuff. And Kerbal should run a little better, although this is more contingent on my mods. You know, the mods are really what are dragging some of the Kerbal performance down, and that's to be expected. You install enough mods on Kerbal and it starts to drag a bit. But aside from all that stuff, you know, we've got the Wildstar guide's going to start coming out finally. I'm working on machinima ideas for Wildstar, and this is going to be more or less a replacement for the Warrior series, because, you know, people really like the story of the Warrior series, or just all of the Star Wars series that we've done, but they're not necessarily watching it for the Warrior story itself. They you know, people like to see how I interpret that into my own character story. And because of that, I've considered doing machinima. Now, with Wildstar, they're eventually going to be releasing the tools that they use to make the Wildstar flicks. I said that with quotations, which are really well done. And if you've ever seen one, you'll know what I mean. It's awesome. So once they release those tools, I probably will start making some story machinima with that, and I think it'd be really fun. It's something I haven't really done, and I think I have the tools available to me to do that, right? And I'm pretty sure that makes sense to all of you. You know, it sounds like a cool and fun thing to do. I think I can make really cool stories out of it. I just need the tools to do it, so that's what I'm waiting for on that. But, you know, obviously with Project Destiny coming out, which will hopefully be next week, that is also more story content for those people who like how I incorporate stories into the game. So it's more of a unique turn that I'm taking with a lot of the series, and we'll see how that turns out. Obviously, if it doesn't work out, then I'll switch it. So it's not like it's not like there's no return from here, but I did want to keep you guys updated on what series are coming up. So just to recap, we have Dragon Age Inquisition in October. We have Alien Isolation, hopefully, in October. We have Project Destiny next week. We have a lot of Wildstar guides going to be starting to come out and trickle out here. And I'm hopping on the PTS this week, so you should see some videos of the public test server and the new PvP changes, and then we'll also be doing the patch rundowns, which is something we used to do with Star Wars. So with that being set out, that gives us a good foundation for the fall. I think the fall is going to have a lot of really cool series on the channel, and honestly, if you're really into the Star Wars series, you know, that's going to be ending here. fairly soon, not necessarily like right away. We still have the end of chapter 2 and chapter 3 to go through, but for the most part it'll be sooner rather than later. So if you're really into that series, I would suggest checking out Dragon Age 2 or Dragon Age Origins. It's not like a huge deal if you jump in on Dragon Age 2. You're not missing a lot if you miss the Dragon Age Origins series, considering that series was over 100 episodes long. It's the longest series we've ever done, and it was really fun to do. So Dragon Age 2 will be a lot shorter than that because we need to get to Inquisition. Some other things I've considered, though. We have the Destiny beta for, the PlayStation, and I can record and do commentary on that. It's kind of wonky. I've considered it. We'll see how that works. I might do a test thing and see how it works. And if it's awesome and the quality is really good and I'm able to sync it up properly, then sweet. Otherwise, we'll see how that all turns out. Obviously, if you never see one, it didn't work, and if you do see one, then it did work because it's using the PS4 tech for recording to get that to actually work properly. Now, as far as the very last thing that I wanted to talk about in this vlog is really just the interaction between the website and our series, right? So the website has been slowly worked on, and we've gotten things working here and there as far as the functionality that we want, and it's slowly been coming up to par. But there's two things that we want to implement more. So the first thing is we want more things for you guys to buy off the point store. Obviously, we put the wallpapers and stuff up, and I plan on putting a Project Destiny wallpaper up because it's actually a really cool thumbnail. So we'll make sure that's up there. But I was considering doing some key things. So like landmark keys for, the landmark beta, obviously, which are unlimited keys. They're not just a timed thing. And then also beta keys for stuff that we get, because I have a ton of beta keys to give away of just random stuff. So that would be the first and foremost thing that we want to get added more of is the keys there. And then the second thing is more just reasons to go to the website to begin with. So the first thing is going to be the mods for the Kerbal series. I'm going to have a written guide with pictures and everything of how to install the mods, where to get them from everything I'm using. That way you can get the mods that you think are interesting in the series and install them without any problem. So if you're new to modding games, it'll help you out for sure, and it'll give you a better idea of, how to mod out Kerbal specifically. And Kerbal's kind of more of an intermediate to advanced modding thing, because you have to deal with a lot of files, as opposed to something like Wildstar, which is another thing that we're going to do, modding on, is Wildstar, you just have the Curse client up and you just install mods as you go, right? So that one's a lot easier than, say, Kerbal. So we'll have a written guide for Kerbal, but for Wildstar, I plan on having just a list of mods that I'm currently using as a player. So that way, if you guys are getting into Wildstar, you have a reference point of what mods to be using, or what mods you could use even. So that should give you a good idea there, right? So hopefully that will give more incentive to go to the website, because you have, references for mods, and then you have more stuff to buy off of the store. And for anybody who's new and hasn't visited the website, it's just OSWnetwork.com, and it's really easy. You can watch all of the videos there. If you have an account and you're logged in, anything that you do on the website will gain you more points. With the points, you can purchase other things. Like previously, we did an early access version of the Warrior trailer, so people who had acquired enough points were able to watch the trailer long before anybody else did. And I thought that was a really cool way of doing that. So I don't know if we'll do that in the future, but it is, something else to acknowledge. So I guess the very last thing for the website too ties into live streaming. I currently have a headset that I use with my microphone, and I do a lot of audio editing in post, so I record my audio separate, and then I put it in Adobe Audition, and I've been trained on stuff like this. So I know how to edit audio and how to EQ stuff properly, and I've been trained by people who've been in the industry of being an audio technician for years, for like 20 to 30 years. So I know what I'm doing as far as that's concerned. But when it comes to a live stream, my audio is just raw, and it sounds not nearly up to the standard that I want it to, which is why I haven't been live streaming enough, is because I'm not happy with the audio quality there. So what I'm working on getting is a audio interface and an actual microphone to go into the computer, which plugs into the audio interface, and that will drastically increase the quality of the microphone stuff, which means I would start live streaming more. But I gotta get that, I gotta get the right parts for that. You can't just buy one and hope it sounds good. You gotta get the right combination, and you do a lot of trial and error, and finally it'll start working the way that you want it to. So just to keep you guys updated on why I haven't been live streaming a lot is because I'm just not happy with the audio quality, and eventually we'll get there. And I have like another 6 months license on XSplit, so I have plenty of time to figure that out and get that going. But I do want to live stream more for you guys, especially the people who appreciate live streams more than videos, and there are a few of you out there. But I think that keeps you up to date on everything going on the channel. I just want to, every now and then I like to check in. I like to give you guys updates. I like to give you guys a reason, or an understanding of the reason behind the stuff that I do on the channel and the decisions that I make. If you have any questions, ask them, and I'll answer them on anything that I've been doing recently or anything that I'll be doing in the future. But with that, I think it's a pretty good time to end this video. Tomorrow you'll see the first Wildstar guide, and we're off to the races as far as fall is concerned. You're going to be seeing a lot of really cool stuff, so keep tuned to the channel. But on that note, we shall see you guys next time.